So the task is going to be to create a story lane, and Storylane is basically a follow the purple dot type tutorial. They're fairly easy to make up. I want to do a video of what I want, and then I want you to convert it into a story lane. All right, so the one we're going to do is going to be quite a difficult one, so it'll be a good test. If you do a good job on this, then I'll be happy to pay what you've asked for. Okay, so this will be a test. This will probably be the hardest one you do, so you get through this one, it'll be all right. Okay, so I'll try and keep it easy for you. So we'll go step 1, click on site admin. Step 2, click on courses. Step 3, click on courses and categories. And next step, we're going to create a new category. And we'll put in a category name. We'll call it demo course. And we'll change the top heading to the top of the categories. And we'll go create category. So the categories are on the left and the courses are on the right. So we've just created this category here called demo course. So now we're going to go create new course, and we'll just call this demo course. And then we put in a short name, which is always in lowercase. Change the course visibility to hide until you've finished all the editing. We don't need to enable the course end date. In here is where you can put a course image, and the course image should be a rectangle of 600 by 400. Just ignore that. So just say this is where we can put the image in, and I'll do it again. Choose file. And generally you want to put in a 600 by 400 image. All right, under course format, very important that we change the number of sections to 0 so that the announcements activity on the next screen we can delete without it reappearing. And then we want to make sure the completion tracking is turned on. Completion tracking is very important to set at the course level, and then next we're going to set it at the activity level. So we'll go save and display. So this is the general course that's first set up. We're going to then turn on edit mode, and we're going to delete these announcements. So the announcements will come on by default, and we'll delete those announcements. You can then change the first topic to be something like student instructions. And generally in student instructions, you'll have something like a text and media area, or even a page. So one of these two. So let's say we put in the text and media area, and I'll just call this student instructions. And I'll just put in here, add your student instructions here. Then we look at the completion conditions for each activity. This is just a simple text, so we want no completion conditions. Save and return to course. And that's our first topic and the student instructions. This first topic can't be reordered. So you leave the top topic as something that's always going to be up the top, like student instructions. Then we would add another topic. And to do that, we make sure that we've got edit mode turned on up here. And click on the pencil icon to edit the name. And let's say we call this learning. Press enter to do the learning. And then let's say we would add in a quiz. Sorry, correction. Let's say we would add in a SCORM package. And we'll just call this learning. And we'll add in, bear with me here for a second, I'll just find a SCORM course. All right, there we go. So just ignore all that previous time. I was just finding a course. So we'll upload a zip file SCORM course, and I'll run through the SCORM settings. So that's just uploading now. So when you're creating the Storylane demo, you want to use as much of the info I'm saying on my voice now into the voiceover for each of the little elements, okay? And so we got the SCORM file in there, and under appearance, we want to change some of these settings. So we want to make sure we go always skip, and the point of that, of all these settings now, is to clean up the page, to make it look neater and cleaner. So yes, we want to disable preview mode, again, to make it neater and cleaner. We always want to hide the course structure, again, to make it cleaner and neater, and leave that on no, and no on that. So all of these settings were to make it look clean and neat. Now, the most important thing with SCORM is the grade. We want to change the grade for all SCORM objects to be learning objects. This gives a score of 1 or 0, 1 for completion or 0 for not completing. It's the only one that really works with Moodle and is the best one to use. Then we go into completion conditions, and we go add requirements, and we don't need that on there. All we need is to tick passed and completed. The reason is that when you create the SCORM course, if you've chosen the completion condition of passed, or if you've chosen the completion condition of completed, it won't matter because Moodle will look for one or the other. So by ticking both, you cover both scenarios. So just tick passed and completed, and then go save and display. And what you'll see is a nice, neat looking SCORM package. So there's nothing extra on the screen. It's very neat. And when we click enter, it will display very neatly on the page. And you can bring out your block drawer. You can bring out that one. You can close down that one. You can close down the course index. You can close down the block drawer to get more space. And then you can close that one down. to get perfect sort of space there. Then if there's a full screen button down the bottom here, all right, so I'm just going to exit out of that. Just want you to ignore all of that for a second. I'm going to delete that one and just do another one because I wanted to get the full screen button in there. Okay, so SCORM course, let's just restart that. So learning. So when I make a mistake like this, just delete all of the storyline things that you've done and catch up to where this is. So let me just find one that has a full screen button on it. Type. So I want to get that won't have it. I think element 6 will have it. Let's try that one. So yeah, just ignore all that I've done. It was all correct, but I need a course with a full screen button in it so that we can show the client the full screen. So this is why this is a hard task, because you've got to listen to what I'm saying and follow along and convert this into the voiceover in Storylane. Okay, so now we've got that in there. So go through these again. So under the appearance, current window, we want to always skip content page. We want to disable preview mode. We want to hide the core structure player. And we want to have that as no, and we want to hide that away. And that is, again, to make that all neat and clean in appearance. Under grade, for all SCORM courses, we always want to make learning objects. 1 equals pass all of the slides, 0 equals haven't completed all the slides. It's the only way to go in SCORM. And then we'll go add requirements. We don't need require minimum, but we want to tick passed and completed so that Moodle looks for either a passed completion setting or a completed completion setting. One or the other will do. It just covers both scenarios. That's all you need. Save and display. And you'll see that it's very neat and clean. So when we press enter and we display, we go into the SCORM course, we can close down that menu or open up that menu. And now you see there's a full screen button. So we can full screen that, which gives perfect full screen e-learning. Okay, very neat and clean. Then we can go that to get out of full screen, and then the students can go exit activity at any point to go back to it. So that's the SCORM. Next one in the learning is we'll do a quiz. So we'll just call this quiz 1. And under the grade, we want to match the number of questions to the score to the grade to pass. So if there's 1 question, we want to have a grade to pass of 1. Okay. Then under layout, you can have navigation method free or sequential. Free means they can jump around. Sequential means they have to do question 1, question 2, question 3. And then question behavior, we'll click on show more. Always make sure we got each attempt builds on the last, which is yes. Deferred feedback means that they will view all of the feedback after they've done the quiz during the review. I like to use immediate feedback, okay? And the immediate feedback means they get check button comes up and they can check if they got it right or wrong straight away. We don't give them the answer straight away, but they can check if they got the question right away. So this is the feedback review options during the attempt. So we're going to untick right answer, but you can keep all of this feedback on there. So when they click check, they'll get this feedback, but they won't get the right answer. And then after the attempt, you can give them the right answer or not. Most people turn that off. And then we'll go to completion conditions and all quizzes, add requirements, receive a grade, passing grade. Okay, so they're the options there. Save and display. And then it comes up to adding the question. So we'll add a question, and I'll just add one simple question. We'll just add a simple true false in another Storylane demo, we'll do more about quiz questions. This is just setting up a basic course for now. So we'll just call this question 1, and we'll do a nice simple question. And the answer to that is true. And you can show standard instructions, which means select true or false, select one or more, etc. We're not going to go into any detail about these questions just yet. Multiple tries is for when you select the question behavior of interactive with multiple tries, where they can have 3 attempts at the question before moving on, but we won't go into that in this video. So save changes, and we end up with this question here, and I'll just preview it. So Perth is the capital of WA, true or false. You'll see there's a check button there. So I'll go true, and then I'll hit check. And that gives me the green tick, tells me that I got it right. Okay, that's because we chose immediate feedback. If we chose deferred feedback, we wouldn't have been told whether that's right or wrong. It's really good to tell the students if they got it right or wrong, because if they're getting them wrong, then they know to read the question more carefully as they go along. Okay, so then we can close the preview. And over here, we've got 1 point for the question. So we're going to change that to 1 point for the maximum grade. If we had 10 questions down here, then we would have maximum grade of 10 in here. So the total number of questions should match the total maximum grade. Okay, so if we go back into settings and check the grade, we'll see that that's a grade to pass of 1. So that should match the number of questions. And then just a reminder, in completion conditions, receive a grade, passing grade. So we can go save and display on that. And that's now our quiz done. To get back to the course, you can click on student instructions, or I always like to click on the short course link here. It's always above the icon. So click on demo course to take you back to the course here. So this is the course here. Okay, so we've done the topic here, we've done a SCORM, and we've done a quiz. The other one to look at is H5P, okay? So, which I don't have installed here, okay? I'll do that, forget about H5P, I'll do that as a separate, we'll do that as a separate Storylane. All right, and then we've got the quiz in there, and that really should be in the assessment, sorry. So let's add a topic. And let's call that assessment. And so this is okay. This will give us a good chance to teach people how to move stuff. To move stuff, we click on the edit icon and we click move. And then we can click on assessment, which will then move that quiz into assessment. Okay, so we've got learning, then we've got assessment. So let's add one more assessment item. Let's add an assignment. And an assignment is really important. So let's call this practical assessment 1. And in here, you can put additional files. So you might put in here some instruction files, okay? So imagine if you've got a PDF. So I'll just use this learner evaluation form, but imagine that this PDF was student instructions, a whole document based on student instructions. Then you can put that as a file in there as the student instructions, okay? Or in here, you can add in the student instructions for completing the assessment. You don't need to have these ticked. You can untick these unless you're going to use certain dates. And then for submission types, we're going to enable file submissions, which is uploading of a file. If you wanted just text to be typed in, you could tick on that one, and that would be just text. And then if you tick none of them, you could use this as an observation checklist, just purely observing a practical skill. Um, and or you could do both. All right, you could say, I want you to upload videos or pictures of your performance, plus we're going to have an observation checklist, which we'll now do. In feedback types, we want to make sure annotate PDF is always turned on and always turn on yes inline. Annotate PDF is really important to be ticked so that it creates a speed grader type marking page with the PDF on the left and the marking criteria on the right. It's essential to click this one. Under submission settings, we can require that the student accepts the submission statement, which is the plagiarism. Don't forget to always click on the help icon, which tells you a bit more about each item. Okay, you don't need to click this one. And additional attempts manually means to allow the teacher to set the next attempt, or automatically until pass is what most people use, which is to keep submitting until you pass. Notifications, you can have the teacher be notified about a submission, which is always handy. And then under the grade, we're going to put in a grade of 3 because we're going to use checklist grading. Okay, so we have this grading method called checklist grading, which is all of the grading criteria put into a list, which is called benchmarking, to allow the teacher to mark each criteria and provide a comment next to each criteria. And the grade to pass, sorry, we're going to have a grade of 3 and a grade to pass of 3. So maximum grade 3, grade to pass 3, and checklist. That's for 3 assessment items. So then we're going to have completion conditions, add requirements, receive a grade on all completion requirements. We want receive a grade, passing grade. Don't tick make a submission. Just tick receive a grade, passing grade on each assignment. Okay. Then we go save and display. And now we're going to click on define new grading form from scratch and just put the same name, practical assessment 1. And in here, we can use this to create groups. And if you've only got one group, we can just call it assessment criteria, press enter. And in each item, we can put in assessment criteria. So whether it's a document or practical assessment, we can write in whatever the criteria is. So student lifts heavy item bending their knees. If this was a safety lifting practical assessment. Next one, student gets help from co-worker when lifting heavy items, press enter. And then the third one, student assesses the weight of the load before lifting any item. Press enter. 1 point for each of them. You can leave all that alone, and so now I've got 3 different criterias for 3 different items. Then we go save checklist and make it ready. Okay, and so that's basically how we set up the practical assessment. And when the assessor marks it, he'll be able to mark it against that criteria. Click on the demo course short name to go back to the course. And now we have a basic course setup. So that's all we're going to do for this course. We've got student instructions, the top folder. We've got learning topic with a learning item in it. And over here, you can see that it says complete or pass the activity, which is the correct conditions. Down here for the quiz, we had receive a grade, receive a passing grade. We always want to see receive a grade, receive a passing grade. And then on a practical assessment, we've got receive a grade, receive a passing grade. So they're the correct completion conditions. The last stage, and obviously we can put a whole lot more in this course, but the last stage is then to set the completion, the course completion settings. So we go more, course completion, and then we click on activity completion, and then we select all the items that we want the student to have to complete to pass the course, and these will all appear in the course completion reports and the activity completion reports. Okay, so scroll down, save changes, and now we've got under, I'll just check participants first. All right, so I'll just add in a teacher, a student. You don't need to put this into the Storylane. I'm just making a student role. And so now when we go reports, now you can go back into Storyline. So reports and course completion, we will see that the student's name will come up and all of the items that they have to complete because we've set the completion conditions correctly. So this will come up with ticks, 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 and if they complete all three, then the final course completion tick will come up as well. And the same thing happens for the next report, which is the activity completion report. The same thing will be seen, a list of all the activities. It doesn't show the completed course because that's in the other report. But the advantage of the activity completion report is when you download the CSV, it actually downloads the date completed, the date and time completed of each activity, which is really important for funding. So if you have to demonstrate that they've commenced funding in a course, and I also suggest that you do 1 unit of competency per course if you have to do any funding completions. In fact, we always recommend that for each unit of competency, you do a separate course. It just makes reporting and funding arrangements much easier to prove. So the CSV of the activity completion report, really good for funding. All right, so then we click on course and we'll have a look at our final course. We'll turn off edit mode to see what the course looks like. And we'll scroll through and you can see that as we scroll up and down, the left-hand menu scrolls up and down. So you see that same scrolling methodology and the students can close the course index or they can open the course index. They can jump around and go through different items. Going through that way. And that's all I wanted to go through for this Storylane. So you can finish on this page, maybe scroll down a little bit to there. So finish on this page and show everyone that's the basic course setup, okay? Oh my, please tell me we recorded that. We did, yep. All right, so stop.